Welcome to episode 33 of Dissent Into The Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilization to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J. And today we're going to be taking a look at a long-running animated series, The Simpsons, and many, many predictions that have been made by The Simpsons and also come true. And we got a special guest today. Dan, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. Like I say, The Simpsons, absolutely love it. They've kind of gone downhill, but their predictions, for some unknown reason, they keep coming true. And I want to know why.
Well, let's do our darndest to figure it out. But, geez, there's some absolutely mind-blowing predictions. Like, there's some I feel that are a little bit, like kind of, you could have guessed that maybe or just fluked it. Yeah, but there's other ones that I'm just like, that's eerily accurate.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
A lot of them is. This, like say, one of the big ones, obviously, is the Trump one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was really the one where people started looking a bit too closely. Right, what else have they said?
Yeah.
Because, and it was just the image in the cartoon when he's coming down the escalator. And that actually happened. It's the exact area, looking up to them. And it's like, oh my God, it's like they've taken a recording and just drawn over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now, with that, could we say, just putting it out there, that Donald J. Trump is a huge Simpsons fan and he saw that all the way back and he's like, well, I'm going to do that when I go for my presidential campaign.
Screw you, because I just thought that. I was just thinking that. I'm like,
that would be amazing.
That because just like as soon as you said the angle, I was like, oh, I wonder if, because I was thinking about Lady Gaga as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like what she did. I was like, I wonder if these individuals are if it's just like an inside joke. Is it an inside joke now? Anyone who's on the show is going to, in later years, do what they did on the show.
We got to make that happen.
Yeah.
Or we got to troll the world. Let's do it like this. And it's like you're saying with the Lady Gaga thing, with being descending from the top of the stage in that outfit as well.
Yeah.
It's everything is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that now...
Are we being trolled?
Well, we might be, but I hope that in the case of Blinky the three-eyed fish, we're not being trolled and somebody went out there and decided to put nuclear waste in a lake and, come up with a three-eyed fish, because that happened. I didn't even know.
Yeah, you can't plan that.
Well, you never know.
Well,
you don't know what these people do this day and age just to get anything.
Yep, it's true. It's true. But where was that? Where was Blinky found? Argentina, I believe.
I think it was Argentina. South America.
Because I mean, of course, the premise in The Simpsons is that the pond or whatever, like near the nuclear power plant, has all the waste going into the dam or whatever it is of the lake. And so is it Bart? Bart catches Blinky, I think, and then
I think it is. Yeah.
And that was episode, I think season 2 that was in, that Blinky was found in there. So early 90s or late 80s even.
Yeah, I think it was the early 90 ones. Because if I'm correctly, in the same episode, it's when they go along the bank and you see the gangsters throwing the body in the water. But then you also see Smithers and Burns pouring the waste in as well.
Yeah.
I think it's that episode.
That sounds familiar.
Be wrong on that one.
It sounds familiar. But then, like, in 2011, someone found the actual Blinky in Argentina, a three-eyed fish.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Everything that these people have done, and just, I really can't explain it. Like I say, I really do think they're just trolling people now. We'll just do this, and in the future, like Les was saying, they're probably fans of the show, and we'll just do that just to mess with people.
Yeah. Well,
I would if I had that power.
Oh God, yeah.
It's funny that, like, because a lot of these predictions are things that you could have watched The Simpsons. Like, you could have actually just watched it and gone, all right, well, let's do that. Like, let's do what they did in the show. But there's other ones that we'll get to down the track that are something that you could not have predicted. You could not have actually done it, really, in reality. I mean, another example of ones that could have been taken from The Simpsons and then done or acted out in reality is like covering up Michelangelo's junk. So in an episode in 1990, they covered up his junk, and then they did it in reality as well.
Over in Russia, they thought it was indecent, and it was I can't remember what the person said in an interview. It was something about corrupting young people's minds or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We don't want the young minds to see it. It's like, well, the young minds also have they all have bodies too.
Yeah. Right.
They all know what's going on.
Yeah.
They've got the internet as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that a statue's private parts is probably the least of the world's problems, I feel.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But
it's.
I guess they can be lethal. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it all depends.
Well, as long as it stays attached to the statue, I feel it can't be that dangerous.
Yeah, well, you never know. Have you seen Naked Gun?
I have.
There we go. See,
I have. But that involves the breaking off of said junk and using it as a deadly weapon. I mean.
And there it is, lethal.
Really attack a woman with a concrete. Yes. But no, it's like saying it's obviously there's been so many things that they've come out and said, and one of the more frequent ones is the Super Bowl. They've always seemed to predict who's going to be playing in the game, and then they predict the correct teams. But I think those ones there are more likely a fluke, because when it's just it's a football game. It's not like we were talking about earlier, certain things, and it's not like, oh my God, years and years later. These were just a couple of days before each Super Bowl went ahead. Right,
and I guess. I don't know much about the Super Bowl. I know a lot about the bowls in my cupboard, but not too much about the Super Bowl. But I imagine with American football, it's much the same as any other sport. Like leading up to the Super Bowl, there's a couple of teams that have been shit hot all year. And so if you pick one of them, you're going to be pretty close to, guessing. It's like a 50-50 chance.
Mm-hmm.
You would
see
think.
What the scores were, and all you need to do is just look at the analytics going into the main game.
Oh,
and just choose who you need.
That's a good point too. But they've definitely made those predictions. That's for sure. Like they've made them. It's just they're not. You're right. Like it's more of a chance of fluking it than actually making the out and out prediction.
Making the proper prediction.
Yeah.
They have done some really good predictions. One of my favorite ones is, I'm going to go by here now, is when the Disney buying 20th Century Fox, which they predicted in 1998.
And when did that happen?
2017.
Wow.
19 years later, yeah. Because what it was is when they go to 20th Century Fox Studios, and underneath the famous 20th Century logo, subdivision of Walt Disney Company. That is it. That's all it was. Just a little throwaway poster as they drive past it. That was it. And obviously, 19 years later, we're buying you, because obviously Simpsons were owned by 20th Century Fox, and now they're owned by Disney.
That's a really interesting one. Like so many years later, it's not like it's a couple of years or 5 years. It's nearly 20 years later.
Not even in the works at that time, right? Like not even in talks to be happening, unless it was, and it took that long.
No, it was 20th Century Fox were supposedly looking into buying other companies before they even decided to be sold to Disney. I believe they only sold to Disney because they were looking at a very big, expensive backlog, and I think they were going to go into bankruptcy or something.
Wow.
Because it was Disney and was it Warner Brothers? I can't remember. It was either Universal, Warner Brothers, and Disney who were looking to buy it. Okay. When Disney first went in with like 50 odd billion, Then another company put it into like 66. And then Disney went, 67 billion plus so much money in stock.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we'll be sold to you.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
So much money. Like,
it's,
you just can't imagine it, can you? But like,
no.
I mean, I suppose as well, CEOs and CFOs and all that kind of stuff would have changed hands a few times between when the Simpsons episode came out and when the actual acquisition happened. So,
oh God, yeah.
That is I feel like that is a pretty crazy one. Like, that's a pretty eerie one, and especially it was just so subtle, written on the bottom of the logo there, very subtle.
Yeah. It's going back to when you're saying that it could have been a fluke or they're looking at things and looking into the future. Is again with the one where Lisa gets married and she becomes president, female president and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But is when they also got the smartwatch in that episode.
Yes.
When her fiance is using it, and it actually, it doesn't really look like an Apple Watch, but it has got the screen on and everything else. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that could be it. And that was in season 6.
Okay, so mid-90s again.
And the watch didn't come out until 2014.
Wow. Well, it's interesting, that stuff. And like talking technology, they also had the predicted the autocorrect fail, which I love, by the way. The autocorrect fail.
The Newton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That Apple came out with.
Yeah. So, because like, what was that episode? I think, I can't remember who it was. Who was it that was trying to type something? Was it Nelson? One of the bullies, I think.
It was one of the bullies. I remember that.
They're trying to say like, beat up someone. And
beat up Martin, yeah.
Yeah, and it said, eat up Martha.
I only remember that scene a lot more because it's in the film Steve Jobs. With Michael Fassbender, yeah. Because that was the invention that got the CEO of Apple kicked out of how much of a failure it was. When the Simpsons started making fun of it, they were like, now it's mainstream, it's major, we gotta get rid of him.
Really?
Yeah. That's why they got rid of him, because it was such a failure. I think they lost billions on that.
That's crazy.
Because obviously they fired Steve Jobs in the late 80s. Yeah. Because it was, because again, he was supposedly, they said he was draining money from the company for his, for the Mac. And they were like, it's doing too much. He said, get rid of the Apple II. It's been around too long. We need to go forward. We need to look to the future. And they were like, well, that's the only thing that's making money, so we're keeping it. Mm-hmm. And the CEO was like, right, you can either keep him or me. It's one or the other. And they all said, right, okay, he's gone. To Steve Jobs, the guy who co-founded the company. Just because he wanted to push him in a new direction, they got rid of him.
And look what they like, just imagine how much further advanced they could potentially be.
Exactly.
They started then when because he already had this thing in his ether, right? Like it was already there. He just had to go grab it.
Yeah.
And if he grabbed it back then, could you imagine where we would be?
Well, in the film, it's because the film's based on his autobiography, and they actually do explain, because obviously when he left Apple, he came up with the cube. I can't remember the name of the cube.
What was it? Yes, I remember.
Steve Jobs cube. But it was like a perfect cube and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It was like, lit like a centimeter off this way or whatever. The next computer, that was it, the black cube.
That's it. Yeah.
1988. Yeah. And they were like, he predicted that Apple would buy his computer because he didn't have an operating system. And that is what Apple needed. They needed a brand new piece of equipment. And he was like, yeah, they'll do it. And because in the film, it's Kate Winslet again. I absolutely love Kate Winslet. And she's like, this guy got it right, haven't he? He's predicted that what you've done is happening. And he's like, yeah, it's, I know, but, we're not telling people. And obviously, look what they came back out with. It was like it was the PowerBooks. And then obviously he brought out the iMac, didn't he? The see-through computer and all that. Mm-hmm. And that just kickstarted the Apple revolution again. Yeah. But like you were saying, Les, imagine if they didn't get rid of him in 1985.
Yeah.
Could have gone so much further.
or was it exactly the way it happened for a reason? Because maybe it may not have turned into, maybe we wouldn't have these fantastic things. We don't know. So it happened the way it was supposed to, that's for sure. But it's just interesting to, every time you think, man, like if only they, kept their head on their shoulders and didn't, bend to anybody's will.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine the audacity of saying it's either them or me. Like if that's the case, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
If I'm that unhappy, I'm going to go.
It was just the way, because obviously the guy, the CEO, I still can't remember his name, don't really care about him, but he was the CEO of Pepsi, or was it Pepsi or something like that, wasn't it? He was the CEO of a sugar drink company. That was it. Why would you get someone like him to come in and be the CEO of a multi-computer generational company?
It doesn't really compute, does it? Well, it's not really. It's not a genre anywhere near like technology, computers, all that kind of stuff.
And I think that kind of showed with obviously the Simpsons making fun of the Newton. Because he's like, oh, I've made this cool new thing. Look at this, and it's like, it's being made fun of on the Simpsons. No one's gonna buy it. Bye. Yeah. And they sacked him for it. Mm-hmm. And then obviously he came back, and then the watch, obviously. I can't remember. It may have been the same episode, actually. The video calling.
Yes.
FaceTime.
Yep.
It's... But I think you could look at those, though, the watch and the FaceTime is thinking, well, they kind of had that in Star Wars and Star Trek as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
Did they predict that as well?
Well, they weren't the only ones, were they? Like, you could safely say that. Like, they definitely had video calls, and they even had communicating devices in Star Trek and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if they did it on their own, but it was definitely there. Like, it was certainly there. But I mean, there's a really different mix, I think, of predictions here. Like, there's some flukes, there's some things that were almost like predictive programming, almost, as in like, here's this, and then now people are like, oh, geez, I wonder if we could actually do that. And then it comes to fruition. There's some very eerie ones, though, as well. And I'm just got me thinking about, so that's like computer and technology, but what about like health and things like that? Because there was an episode back in, I think it was 1997, where a cereal box, it's a book that Homer's got, Curious George and the Ebola virus. And it was basically predicting the Ebola virus or Ebola outbreak in 2014, way back in 1997. And it's like the Fox thing. It's just like it's just a book that's held up, and
just like an off joke, like, oh, look at this, look what I got, but okay, quick and blink and you miss it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did Curious George have a tail or no tail? I need to know.
Well, you can't see. He's lying in a bed under the covers. Dang, damn it. Because we talked about on one of our episodes down the Mandela effect and how like people remember things differently. And one of the big ones is Curious George have a tail or no tail? Because half the world remembers him having one and half the world remembers him not having one.
Yeah, I think he had one, didn't he?
According to sources, no, he didn't.
According to me, he didn't. Yeah. I'm the source.
You're the source. But I mean, like, it's really, really eerie, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think, but it's just so many things they've done, and it's like, I think one of the most famous ones, like we were talking about earlier, is the Higgs Boson particle.
Oh,
yes.
This one blows my mind, and I feel like this is one of the because we were looking into this, and Les did a bit of research for us on this, but the articles. When I was sifting through, I was like, oh, interesting. And then I just stopped and I saw this, and I was like, what the actual fuck is this? Like, Homer Simpson in 1998 is writing on a blackboard. And it's Homer, right? One of the dumbest characters in history.
Idiot.
The moron of the show is writing some like formulas on a whiteboard, a blackboard. And what he wrote on the damn blackboard back in 1998 was actually like solving or discovering the Higgs Boson particle.
Proper equation. When this came out, obviously, because in 2012 is when they actually found it.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just look at that episode back then and try it out then?
Well, why didn't Matt Groening and the other producers actually just say, "Hey, we found it, we did it"?
Yeah, it's because he's just doing it. And I'm sure there's bound to have been some kind of scientist back then. Oh, I'll just see if this is right or whatever. And I just picture them seeing it, and it's worked out and it's correct. And he'd just be there going, "What the fuck have I just watched?" It's like, it's real. How can this be real?
Yeah.
The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace. That's the name of the episode.
They called it. The other name for this particle is the God particle, right? Like that's the other name for it. It's a huge scientific discovery, and it was made by Homer Simpson back in 1998.
Yes.
This is the guy who put a drinking bird on the nuclear power to operate the nuclear power.
Oh, my God. I absolutely love that episode.
So good. Yeah.
Oh. It's okay, the bird's there.
Yeah, and he can't figure out the computer. He's like, push the enter key. Where's the enter key?
Yeah. You know what? With one of those things, my favorite episode is still a Frank Grimes episode.
Oh, Grimesy. Yeah.
Yeah, Grimesy is because he's there like the employee of the month and doing all this kind of stuff. Sees Homer getting away with everything. And it's just when he decides that I'm going to be like Homer Simpson. I've gone to the toilet. I'm peeing without coming out without washing my hands. I'm Homer Simpson. And it's when he touches the electrical current and then the next scene is his grave. Still to this day, I have to pause it because I just cannot stop laughing at that part. And it's just like, that is just, I don't know what it is. It's just so raw. I think because it obviously is meant to be shocking, but hence the Bobby died.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was Dan. So.
Yeah, I know.
It was. It's just I just can't stop laughing at that one specific moment. I think that's because I do live in the UK, and like we were talking about with the storm.
Yeah.
All I've seen over the like social media, people from this country, no one's worried or panicked about it. We're all just laughing at it. You know,
right.
You've got people in Wales Online, they've gone on and said, yeah, I was just watching TV and next thing I know, the roof got blown off. So I had to turn the TV off. It's like, what? It's like, surely you would have been like, oh shit, my roof. Like, no, I got to turn the TV off first and then look.
Yeah.
Gotta protect the telly.
Yeah. Put something over the TV so the TV's okay. Yeah.
Always got.
Don't worry about the roof. But I think that's I think you said earlier, like The Simpsons lost its sort of, or at least for me anyway, it lost its flavour somewhere in the early 2000s, I think. But that kind of humour that you're talking about, like the Grimesy episode, and I feel like actually, just in general in the entertainment industry, they got to a point where they decided that people weren't smart enough to get the jokes, and The Simpsons was really good at that because they would just do something like that and cut straight to like Grimesy's dead. And you get it. Like you get the joke. It's hilarious. It makes so much sense. But they followed the same theme as the rest of the entertainment industry where they went on to this like spewing dialogue and having to explain the jokes within the scene. And you're like, well, it's no longer funny now. Like, if you have to explain the joke, it's like that person in the friendship group that isn't a great joke teller and they tell a joke and everyone just looks at them blankly and then they go on and explain why it's funny. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I feel.
Now I gather.
Yeah, that's what I feel happened to The Simpsons as well. It lost that edge, the edginess of you have to be on the ball to pick up on the jokes. It's not they're not going to tell you what's funny. You have to see the humor in it.
Yeah, I think you're right with that because the only animated sitcom that's still going, which doesn't tell you the joke, is South Park.
Right.
I was just thinking about them. I was just thinking, were they the reason that The Simpsons were no longer funny? Because I was just thinking, South Park was edgier. South Park was edgier, and I remember the very first episode that came on. It was like 8:00 on a Thursday night or something. And the fucking uproar. They're like, yeah, we gotta move it to midnight. Midnight on like, because they're like, this
episode. It's nice, amazing. Cartman gets an anal probe. The very first episode, just amazing. But I do think that possibly could actually be it, because 1997 would have been around season 8 or 9, actually, for the Simpsons, and that's when they started going a little bit, getting rid of the risky kind of comedy and staying more towards we're on prime time. We're on this day. We're with this. Our audience is mostly children, which is like, okay, fair enough. But Family Guy and American Dad, they've kind of gone that way a little bit now. They've kind of like, even though they're still a little bit edgy, but they're not as bad as they used to be. Yeah. Because I think mostly with Family Guys, because Family Guy, obviously, huge show. It's been cancelled twice as well. But it got cancelled twice and it came back stronger. But I think they don't even care about it anymore. It was almost like they were trying to be outrageous for the sake of being outrageous. But now it's like, oh, no one cares, so let's just carry on.
Well, I think you're right. And the first few, of the Family Guy, the first few seasons or whatever, were just hilarious, side-splitting funny. I remember watching a few of them back to back, and I was just like, the way that they did it was just spot on. And it's like Stewie was always my favorite character, little baby Stewie.
Stewie is still my favorite. Funny enough, with
so
Stewie,
good.
I showed Les a clip the other day about predictions. Remember? With Bruce Jenner.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Because
Family Guy predicted Bruce Jenner.
Yeah. Because Stewie tells the Brian, goes, oh, can you believe that person came out of Bruce Jenner's vagina? And Brian goes, Bruce Jenner's a man. No, Brian. That's what they want you to think. He's actually what a beautiful, elegant Dutch woman. And that was, I believe, in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah. So
interesting.
that was a bit of a huge thing that, because we looked it up as well, didn't we, Les, for when did Bruce Jenner have the magazine? And that was around 2017 as well. So it was maybe a decade later.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I know Caitlin was always Caitlin, but had to be Bruce for the outside world. So I don't know, maybe I hate to think that someone knew that and used it. I hate to think that someone would take something so personal and 100% none of anyone's business and turn it into a joke. But if they didn't, how the fuck did they do that?
Right.
Well,
like of all the people on the planet.
Yeah, they gotta do that one. I'd say with Seth MacFarlane, he has come out and he's done a couple of interviews, and they're like, "How do you find these jokes?" He goes, "Well, people hear stories. That's it."
Right, so it's rumors,
like
and
what
stuff.
me and Les are talking about, saying it could be where do they hear these things and all that?
Yeah,
okay.
And he said, he goes, you hear a lot of stuff because they're always on the Fox lot as well. That's where their offices are and everything else. You do hear a lot of things. And again, that was just happened to be one of them. And it just happened to be true.
Jeez, wow. I don't know how I would feel if I, made a slight joke of Dan and then to turn around and he actually do it. I would feel horrible. I would feel absolutely horrible.
Right.
I could never forgive myself for that. I don't know. That's just me.
And it's funny that you say that, because I was just going to make a joke about it and I already felt bad. Don't worry, everybody. There's no big shocking reveals on this episode.
Not on this one.
Not on this one. But talking about like entertainment and stuff and predictions and things like that. There's another massive and popular show that everybody watched called Game of Thrones, one that I loved and was totally disgusted with the last season, but The Simpsons also predicted that as well.
that is mind blowing to me because again, it's because he hasn't even written the rest of the books.
No.
He's too busy writing other things.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I'll just leave those books now. The TV shows come out, people are pissed with them. I'll just leave them with that.
yeah. Well, and that's why I feel like it sucked so bad the last season was because he hadn't written it. It was the showrunners who decided to have a stab at it, and oh my god, they did a horrible job.
Yeah, you could tell they had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And they were like, what do we do? Oh, we'll just get the dragon.
But
we'll do this.
But the thing
and we'll leave a Starbucks mug in there.
Oh, far out. But I think, the thing is, like, the three of us, any one of the three of us could have continued on the way that the story had gone for the first 7 seasons and done a way better job of finishing it all off and tying it all off. I
like to think so.
Yeah, they tried. It was like they went, "Ooh, let's do a twist." And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't work, man. Like that, you just threw...
Plot twists don't work when you have a story.
Exactly. They just threw all the character development of the last 7 seasons in the garbage. It's just trash. But The Simpsons predicted it 2 years early. Crazy.
Well, saying about that with the TV series, look what they did in 99 with The Hangover. The Hangover basically stole The Simpsons idea, didn't they?
Yep, they did. Unbelievable.
And
Season 10.
Is Bradley Cooper Homer Simpson in that scenario?
I think it is, yeah. Because I'd say, obviously they predicted it. Viva Ned Flanders. They go to Vegas. They hook up with the hookers. And they steal Mike Tyson's tiger.
Holy crap. There's another segue there too. With tigers and the Simpsons predictions.
Here we go.
Siegfried and Roy. The tiger attack.
So many
What
of
the
them.
hell?
I think that was just the law of probabilities, I guess.
with that one, I would assume so, because if you got it's I don't know, it's not a 50-50 chance. It's like you've had this tiger for so long. Yeah. It's gonna either nip you or bite you one day.
Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then that tiger must be sedated.
It's definitely more than a 50-50 chance. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My own cat bites me more often than this tiger did. But yeah, like absolutely crazy. You can't predict an animal's behavior.
No.
At all.
Especially something like a tiger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a documentary on Disney Plus called Waking Sleeping Beauty. And what it is, it shows you how from when the animation was obviously when Walt was alive up until the 70s, it was huge, but then it started dying down and they got rid of the animators. They put them in literally like a shed on the other end of the lot. They took them out with their animation building that was built by Walt Disney for his animators, and they just moved them on. And it goes on and going on. They hired a guy, can't remember his name now. I can see his face. Looks like a pencil with glasses. And actually, he does that, I think. And he came over
Bill Gates, is
from... No. But he gets in there, and that's when the animation renaissance kicked off. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and all these.
Okay.
And he goes, right, we're going to do a film now. He goes, we've got 2 films coming up. Pocahontas, going to be a massive hit, going to be huge. We don't care about that. And we got another film called The Lion King, which is going to be experimental. For this, I've brought in a live lion. The lion comes in with the tamer, and he's standing next to him now. And they say predictability, because it's like, how would you act if you've never been near a lion before?
I would want to hug it, FYI.
Well, I would, but I'd be like, I'm not going anywhere near it either. Because, it's a huge ass lion. And
I know.
The head's like this big. And he goes up to him, and the tamer's there. He's like, oh, it's okay, I got him. And he's there next to him now. And the lion just wraps his paw around him, and he won't let him go. And
oh my God.
You can see and say, that's what might come about something's going to happen. If you've never seen one, are they like dogs? Can they smell fear?
I was just thinking that.
Probably.
They can.
Probably.
With that, because it's just, this guy's like 6 foot as well, and the paw goes around him, and you just can't see him. It's just a paw. It's just the arm and the leg, and I'm like, oh my God. And it grabs on. He doesn't bite him, but he's like, "You're not leaving me, mate. You're someone new now."
Well, maybe you put the paw around him to draw him in closer and tell him about the circle of life. Maybe that's what it was. It was just a circle of life speech.
Say with the lion, say with the tigers, it's going to happen. I don't care if the tamer says, "Oh, they're fine." Well, he hasn't hurt anyone.
These animals,
yet.
Right? These animals have a built-in instinct, don't they? Like they're built for a purpose, and they don't care about a TV show. They don't care about what somebody else wants. Like they have their instincts, and that's what they go by. So it's bound to happen sometime that
absolutely
someone's going to get attacked.
Yeah. And I never understood why people get mad at animals for doing because I'm questioning what happened because everyone wanted Siegfried and Roy to put that cat down. Yeah. Like, well, how is it the cat's fault? The cat didn't ask to do this. The cat never asked for any of this. How is it the cat's fault? He didn't want to be part
of a magic show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He didn't sign up for it. Where's his contract with his little paw print on it?
Well, exactly. Well, they took that animal out of its natural environment, put it like essentially on a chain, and caged it and everything. Who knows how they trained it, what methods they used, like whether they were, horrible methods to train it.
Yeah.
And so
zapping them, hitting them, whipping them. It's like.
And what would you do if you were a prisoner like that, tied up and chained around, and you got the chance to bite someone's head off? You would do it.
Someone next to me with a stick prodding me, saying, "Do it,
talk, more words."
Talking boy, do it.
Fuck.
Well, how does everyone think we got Dan to join us on the podcast this week?
Yeah, you can't see it, but my legs are just dangling off here, and I've got a fire pit below me.
A fire pit. It's like
the best part is 50% of that is true.
Yes,
that's it. Yeah,
but you don't know which part. Don't tell anyone which part.
No, I'm not telling.
It's like Austin Powers. We've got sharks swimming underneath him with lasers on their freaking heads. It's all happening.
I love that. But I'm saying about how things can be messed up as well, though, is the segue into the next part we could do is when Homer used the faulty voting machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did that twice in 2 episodes.
Very interesting.
The first one obviously was when it was Romney or Obama, which was done in 2008. To those say people saw him then in 2012. And I believe it was actually this season, or it may have been last season, when it was actually when Biden was being voted in. And they were doing it all in, so whoever. And he was trying to press one, and they wouldn't give him the correct one again. And I believe Homer goes along with a line saying something like, "Oh, not this again." And he's trying to find out which one. But it's crazy how they saw that 4 years later exactly happens. They're pressing one person and the other one gets voted.
Interesting. Well, I was just going to say, like, what also is I find curious about that is the Simpsons creators choosing which one was the one that would or wouldn't work. Like, was that their own persuasion, maybe, their own little flavor on the episode, or, were they really in tune or in, connected to the people out there, to the masses, and what was
which one do they want?
Yeah.
Because which one was it during the? So he tried voting for Barack Obama, but the machine changed it to Mitt Romney.
Okay, so therefore implying that, now let me get this right, therefore implying that the right wing or the Republican side was doctoring the votes.
Yes.
That's what the implication is there. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they're doing
So it was a more left-leaning decision or episode, like setup for that. And was it the same in the following one, in the next one as well?
I can't remember actually. I'll have to look that one up.
I mean, I would assume it is if it was to do with Biden and Trump. I would imagine it's the same. Interesting though, very interesting.
Yeah, they've had so many of these things that they've come out, and it's just like, this is how they do it, and how And the majority of the time is they are actually really accurate.
Yes.
I'll have to find out another thing for that one. But yeah, the Siegfried and Roy one, obviously, like we're talking about with that one there, the Hangover.
Yeah.
There's just so many. Lady Gaga, for example.
Yes.
That was a huge one because she came into the Super Bowl years later, same outfit, exactly the same way as in the series. And she's been descending from the sky. It's like...
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say I reckon Lady Gaga maybe watched The Simpsons and went, damn, I can do that. I can do that.
That's a great idea.
I can get the exploding booby tassels out and we can make this happen.
We can do this. But you never know, actually, with that. Never know.
I'd love to ask her.
I think, I mean, you never really know, I guess, these people behind closed doors. But, I watched a bit of a documentary on, or some of a documentary on Lady Gaga, and she seems like a pretty kind of cool sort of person, fairly down to earth, really.
I do like Gaga. I got him.
Yeah, and you know what? I was so used to seeing her with all the regalia on, I guess you'd say. And when I watched, what's that movie? A Star Is Born. I was like, she's just amazing. Without all of that stuff, without all the makeup, without all the stuff and the things and the stuff.
That, so.
Oh, you haven't watched it? Oh, it's a brilliant
I've seen
movie.
her saw in House of Gucci where.
Okay.
Oh, like I say, it's. To me, this year for the Oscars, she's been robbed.
Right.
Out of everyone who's been voted, she wasn't nominated.
Okay.
No. Don't get me wrong. You got my favorite, who I want to win, is Jessica Chastain for the Ida Tammy Faye, because she's been nominated for that, and I was like, yes, she needs that. But with House of Gucci, which when you look at the people who's starring in House of Gucci, when you've got Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons, you got forgot
what's
his
his
name
face?
now.
Tall guy.
The guy. Can't remember his name now.
Me neither.
Yeah, Kylo Ren is one of them, and
Adam Driver,
and the other one is Adam Driver,
Driver,
and the other one, I can't remember. He's gone. I can see his face. He's in Morbius now. The new, the one who's in 30 Seconds to Mars. 30 Seconds to Mars. The rock band. Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
Okay.
You got all these people, and Lady Gaga, when she's on screen with Al Pacino, she outperforms Al Pacino.
What?
She is
good for her.
Absolutely amazing.
That's awesome.
Everyone knows my favorite actors are Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And in this, they're like, Gaga should have got this hands down.
Because it's a shame
when you're watching it, it's like, that's not even Gaga.
Yeah.
She is this person she's portraying. And it's like she should definitely have it because she's just so good in it. And I think that's where she's going to be going now. Don't get me wrong, she's a great singer, great performer.
Yes.
But I think acting could be the way forward because we've seen that as well with a lot of people who are not really actors.
Yeah.
When they've gone over to acting, they've always done the role and they've done it tremendously. Well,
wasn't Scarlett Johansson the same? She was a model, wasn't she, before she became an actress?
I'm not too sure because the first thing I ever saw her in was Home Alone 3.
She was in that?
She's in Home Alone 3. She's the older sister of Alex. The kid who gets left
well, come on. How many people have really seen Home Alone 3? More than once, especially. I don't feel a lot of people who go, really? Oh, no.
I love it.
I can't do it. I cannot do it. Home Alone 1 and 2, cool.
Oh, 1 and 2 are great. But say number 3, I do enjoy it because, when that came out, I was 11.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, that's cool,
That makes sense. I gotcha.
And it still is. I still watch it every Christmas. Those 3.
Aww.
The rest can just...
The rest? There's more? There's more than 3?
Yeah, there's, I think there's 3 or 4 more.
What? Oh my gosh.
You had one that came out last year.
What?
Stop.
Yeah,
no.
They rebooted it last year on Disney Plus. Yeah.
No, I think you're having us on.
The stupidest and the funniest thing is Buzz from the original. He's in it.
Yeah.
He is now working for his older brother, his younger brother, Kevin. You don't see Macaulay Culkin, but Kevin has his own security firm. And Buzz works for him. But the kid who is the main star is, have you seen the film Jojo Rabbit?
No.
He's the main kid in that, and he is awesome in that film. In this, he just seems like a spoiled brat because they make it out that really the kid, he's just horrible in this one.
Oh.
You know, he's left home alone and all this kind of stuff.
But was he left home alone because he's an asshole?
Well, basically, yeah, because everyone hates him.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When his family's gone off and he's sleeping in the car, and that's how they forget him. It's like, right, okay, so this is going on, but the house he got is like $1 million house, $2 million house. It looks better than the original. You know, obviously big, modern, and all this kind of stuff. And because the main story is two people, husband and wife, they're down on their luck. They're about to lose their house. So they've got a doll, which is something on eBay for something like $500,000. And they're like, right, we need to get that back and all this kind of stuff. We're going to sell it. And they think the kid has stolen it. So they go over and the kid just terrorizes them. That's it. It's like, it's not really a feel-good film either. It's absolutely terrible.
Well, I won't be watching it, but the original Home Alones were like, you felt sorry for the character because he was genuinely left at home, and he was that kid who, you know, kind of got forgotten about and all of that. And then these bad guys were going to try and come and get him. Exactly. And so it was feel good because he was getting him. And Joe Pesci, what a pisser. Joe Pesci was so awesome. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like leave some of these franchises alone, you know. And we don't want to go too far into the movie dissection here, but like it is interesting to talk about some of these movies and the Simpsons and entertainment in general, what predictions come through and all of those things. We're getting towards the hour mark soon, so we'll probably finish up if there's any. So I don't know if there's any other like really big ones that you wanted to point out, Dan. Since you're,
I do have guest. Two. Is obviously. One of them is when they nailed the FIFA's corruption scandal, because that was huge. The football scandal, obviously, and you had so many things going on, and the Simpsons predicted that, which is like, how are you doing that for something like that? Yeah, you know, because it was huge.
Did they know something?
Yeah, is that like? I wonder, like, do they have like these big rich people parties? And like, there's a whole bunch of rumors flying around at the time at these rich people parties. Yeah. And then like, hey, I was having a chat with old mate FIFA over there, and he was saying this, and this. And so they put it in the episode. I don't know. Like maybe like, you know, you mentioned before Seth MacFarlane with Family Guy and stuff.
Yeah. When was season 25?
2015? Would it have been 2015? Or would it have been maybe sooner?
2014. Okay. 2014 was season 25, and the following year is when FIFA people got done. So it was a year beforehand, and obviously saying that sort of thing, like same with the part, it's bound to. They're bound to have heard little things. Yeah, but it's like what you were saying with the Simpsons, you know, with the movie, and obviously the way the movies are going. The Simpsons movie, a lot of stuff in there which eerily became predictable. You had the glass dome, which they wanted to seal a town, which they even thought about doing that in real life to a town to quarantine it. It's like, really? That's what you're going to do? Yeah. And obviously the big one is Edward Snowden. Yeah. When he said, this is what they do. And everyone's like, no. He's like, no, they do.
The NSA spying on everybody. Yep. Yeah. And that was what? I think that episode was 2007 or sometime in 2007.
The film came out in 2007. Yeah.
And Snowden blew the whistle in 2013.
Yeah.
So again, it just makes you wonder, like, what were they privy to? What were they? You know, what did they hear? What whisper did they hear to make them think, let's do an episode about that, or let's put that somewhere in an episode?
That's how we'll track them. And this is exactly what they were doing. It's a bit like the 70s film, The Conversation with Gene Hackman, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's listening to people's phone calls. And he works for the government and stuff. But obviously Snowden came out. He blew the lid off everything. And it's just the way they say it in the Simpsons film. When the guy he picks, he goes, oh, I've got one. I found him. And everyone's like, yay. It's like, wow, okay. And then obviously Snowden was like, no, when they find something like that, people do get excited. It's like, they got the reaction right as well.
Yeah. Ooh, that's eerie.
That's it, right? That's it. You go, even the reaction, because we can't predict human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's very detailed. Like to have that kind of knowledge or have that in the show to have the detail of somebody reacting to it as well. It's like someone maybe even got a little peek in the actual room.
Yes.
That
because
they were doing
the drone strikes are what they got. And when people see them, a lot of people get excited over them.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, again, like we were saying, 2007 when the film came out, 2013 is when he came out and said they've been doing this for decades or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, okay. Maybe someone did get a peek. Maybe someone was, check this out on my phone. Because obviously around 2006, 2007 is when on mobile phones, cameras were just starting to come into them.
Yes. And Snowden, of course, said that they were switching the cameras on, like they were viewing people through the cameras and everything all the way back then. And like, we often say as well, what we're privy to as far as public knowledge is decades behind where they actually are technology-wise.
Oh, God, yes.
So what's going on in the background at places like DARPA and, NSA, NASA, like all of these places are far, far, far beyond what we get to see right now. Because they're not going to be sharing that with us.
It's going to come out in 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I'll always remember with that sort of thing is my old boss, his brother he works for like a kitchen fitting company. But these are the ones who do like the big industrial estates.
Mm-hmm.
And it was either Bristol or it was just a little bit further. Here we got one of the Sony producing factories where they make the TVs and stuff. And he went in there and there was one section where literally no one was allowed to go in. And he asked the guy and he said, we're working on something on TV that'll come out in the next couple of years. And he's like, so why isn't it coming? He goes, no, people aren't ready for it yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, my boss, and he said, when he told me that, he goes, I thought he was taking the mick. But he goes, no. He goes, he was actually telling the truth. He goes, when my brother lies or makes a joke, I know. He goes, but for this, even he was shocked. He goes, we're never going to see this for a while.
And that's a really good point. I want to talk about the predictive programming again because, it makes sense to me that when they have these more advanced technology or whatever it is, ideas, whatever it is in the background, and they want people to accept it. When you said that people aren't ready for it, like they need to get society ready for these things, or this is, their thinking. They need to get society ready for these things. Yeah. So they put them into TV shows, they put them into movies and stuff like that. And they go, well, we'll put this idea into a movie because people can accept it because it's not reality. It's a movie. And they can go, well, I can accept this. But subconsciously they go, in the back of their minds, they are being prepared for it and they're getting ready for it. So when they see it in real life, they're like, it's not that big a deal. But it actually is, but it's just that they've been pre-programmed to accept it.
Yeah. And because everything went well in the movie, it'll just all go well in real life as well. We're taught not to fear it, even though it's fucking terrifying. We're taught not to fear it.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I feel like we're sort of coming towards the end of the hour, and it's been such a awesome discussion. Thanks, Dan, so much for your input and for joining us on this episode. So much fun.
Anytime. Thank you so much. So we're going to put Dan's links, everything that he owns down below, even the deed to his house.
Yeah, go for it. Everything is there. You can't have Charlie, though. Can't have Charlie.
Oh, I tried.
Charlie stays with me.
Oh, okay. You know what? Deal's off. It's just your YouTube link now.
Nothing else.
That's fine. Damn it.
But yeah, we'll put all Dan's stuff down there. So amazing. Go check out all of his, channels and everything like that. And just hope everybody enjoyed the episode. And if anyone has, more predictions from The Simpsons as well that we didn't mention or things we didn't talk about, please put it in the comments or on the social pages.
30 years. It's 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty. And which ones do we think are going to come true? Have there been certain episodes where you said, I wonder?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
Maybe we can be the great predictors.
Well, otherwise, everybody have a fantastic day and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.